Ave Maria, welcome back to No Apologies. I'm Friar Joseph, and today we're going to discuss Rebeca as an Old Testament type of Our Lady. In the book of Genesis, you read about Rebeca, who was remarried to the patriarch Isaac, and their two children, Esau and Jacob. If you recall the story of Esau, who is the elder of the two sons, who comes in from the fields and sees Jacob cooking some food. And he's hungry, so he asks Jacob for some of his pottage, and Jacob tells him that, "I'll give you some of my food if you sell to me your birthright." And Esau agrees and sells Jacob his birthright for a bowl of pottage. Well, in chapter 27, you read about how Jacob not only had gained the birthright from his elder son, but he's also to gain his father's blessing. In chapter 27, we read how Isaac is old and he can no longer see, and he calls his eldest son Esau into the room and tells him, "Esau, go out into the fields and hunt some game. Come back and prepare the meal, and after I eat the meal, I'll give to you my solemn blessing." So Esau goes out into the field hunting. Now when Rebekah hears that Isaac had planned to give Esau his blessing, she goes to Jacob and tells him quickly, "Go out into the field and get 2 kids from the sheep and bring them back. And I'll prepare the kids, and you go in with the meal to Isaac, and he'll give you his blessing rather than Esau." So Jacob does that. He goes, he gets the kids. Rebekah prepares the meal, and she also clothes Jacob with the garment that belonged to Esau, and she puts some of the sheepskin on his hands and on the back of his neck so that he would resemble Esau more. Jacob goes into Isaac with the food, and Isaac eats the meal. And after he had felt the skin on the back of his hands and his neck, and after he had smelt Esau's scent coming from his clothes, he was convinced that this was Esau. And so he gave him his solemn blessing, making Jacob now the head of the family. Well, when Esau came back, of course, he was angry at what had taken place. And Rebekah counseled Jacob to go and spend some time with my brother until Esau calms down. And so Jacob does. Now, in this story of Rebekah and Jacob, we can find 2 typologies which relate to Our Lady. The first is this, that just as Rebekah clothed Jacob and presented him to the Father in order to gain his blessings, so Our Lady clothed the second person of the Trinity with flesh and presented him to the Father in order for us to receive the blessing of our redemption. So by this typology, we find support for our honoring Our Lady with the title of the Co-Redemptrix. By co-redemptrix, all we mean is that of all the people in all creation, Mary was the one who most uniquely participated in bringing about the redemption of humankind. So Our Lady, by saying yes to the angel Gabriel, clothes the second person of the Trinity with flesh. And Our Lady, by consenting to the Father's plan that her Son should die, sacrifices her maternal rights for our sake, which corresponds to Rebekah presenting Jacob to Isaac to receive his blessing. Now the second typology that we can see here is just as Rebekah clothed Jacob with everything that was necessary in order to receive the Father's blessing, so Our Lady clothes us with all the graces and all the virtues that are necessary in order to make ourselves pleasing to our Father. She does this through her role as our intercessor. So by this typology, we find support first for the teaching that Our Lady is our spiritual mother, that she's looking out for her children and she's giving them all that's necessary in order to get them to their final end, which is heaven. And that leads us to the second teaching that this typology supports. Well, how does Our Lady help her children? Well, she helps her children because our Lord has made her the mediatrix of all graces. All the graces that Christ won at the cross, he has placed at the disposal of Our Lady, so that she can fulfill this role as our spiritual mother by distributing these graces to all of her children. So I thank you for joining me here at No Apologies, and I'll see you again soon. Ave Maria.